What's going on, everybody? How you doing out there? This is your Uncle Steve, and you are in Uncle Steve's Lounge. This is the Monday Minutia, the first day of legal tampering, which is an oxymoron of itself. But legal tampering for the NFL started today, and boy, what a start we've had. And all the news coming out of the NFL, teams wheeling and dealing, quarterbacks calling themselves home. Atlanta Falcons said goodbye to a local hero. And as far as the free agency for the Atlanta Falcons, it's been a barn burner. Or maybe it hasn't. We'll come back and talk about it in a minute.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge.
What is going on? How's everyone doing out there on a well uncharacteristically cool day today for March the 10th, I guess. A little bit of rain all day, that drizzly nonstop rain down here in Georgia, but said some good days supposed to be coming. I know there's some rain later on this week, but at least it's going to be warm. We're warm with NFL news today. Man, oh man, things coming out of the woodworks. It's an exciting time if you're an NFL fan, like I am, and like most of you are. It is the legal tampering part of which they just need to stop. Just say what it is. They've started free agency. And for us to go ahead and talk about free agency, who's going where, how much money people are getting paid, which is a lot of money going out there. And if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, saying goodbye to a local hero, I have a lot on that. I'm going to jump uncharacteristically quick into the chat because I know everyone has a lot to talk about. Again, it's your Uncle Steve here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Whether you're on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, we appreciate you joining us. Please hit the like button if you get a chance to. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Got a lot of stuff coming into the new season this year. We are going to start off. Let me talk a little bit about a couple of folks up in here. Dexter Owens is in here. What's up, Dexter? How you doing? He said, the only thing I hate about this is the Falcons waiting so long to clear salary cap. Free agency done started. You should have did this early. No, you didn't have the money, and you got 20 players in free agency. Big John is in the house. What's going on, John Higgins? How you feeling, Uncle Steve? What's happening with you, man? It's a rough day in the ATL, but that's the business. I hear you, brother. I hear you. ATL hometown Atlanta Falcons. What is going on, man? You got a lot of stuff in here. He says, I'm going live. Yeah, I was going live. I had to get some stuff taken care of. Had a late I was supposed to start at 6 o'clock, but I had to switch up the game plan a little bit for some personal stuff. But I am back. I am glad y'all are here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us. We are going to get right into the talk in a couple of minutes. Dondre is in the house. What's going on, Dondre? Good to see you joining in here. He says, shout out to Grady for a career in Atlanta. Absolutely. Jamal D is in the house. What's up, Jamal? How you doing, sir? He says, thank you, Grady, as well. My brother David Starks is in the house. What's going on, Dave? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Rounds one is here. Say, hey, Uncle Steve, today reminds me of a Christmas where I got nothing but socks. First super chat of the day, my buddy Willie Doc is in the house. What's up, Willie Doc? We got this for ya. Uncle Steve Lounge.
Uncle Steve's Lounge, you know we here.
Brother, I appreciate the support, man. Thank you so much. As always, good to see you in the house. He said, what's up, Uncle Steve? Not surprised about Grady. It was time. Maybe Fontenot and Raheem got a super plan in place, playoffs, or they're all fire. I agree with that sentiment. Totally agree with that. Thank you again for the support. I'm gonna talk about Grady in 1 second. Want to make sure I see everybody that's coming in here. Ron Smith in the house. What's up, Ron? He said, man, the Falcons visiting surrounding retirement homes looking for talent. They ain't trying to splash. It hurts, just like Grady said. Same every year. Willie Doc also throws in, by the way, love to open the song. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's compliments to my brother Blake Pace doing his thing for a brother on the opening and the closing. I haven't played the closing in a long time. I might have to play the closing for y'all later on here, but I appreciate it. I'm sure he appreciates it too. I love what he did. Did a little bit of gave him an idea. He executed, and we get a lot of compliments on that. So I appreciate that. T Walker, what's going on, T? He said, knee-jerk reaction, but I feel like we went backwards and everyone else in the East went forward. I don't see how we make the playoffs and have a winning record, but I'll wait and see. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. I want to hit all of these as y'all coming in. Dave Starr says it was time. I love Grady and will always appreciate what he did for the team in the city, but it was time to move on and get younger at the position. ATL Skate Man in the house. What is going on, brother? Good to see you in here. I am happy to have you. Thanks for joining us, man. Good. I missed you yesterday. Big Low told me you were up in here and stuff, and I didn't know about the TI thing, man. The ATL thing. Hey, I got a celebrity. Good job. 82. That's my brother Carlo in the house. What's going on, man? He said it doesn't feel like it yet. They got to hit with whatever moves they make. Arthur, what's going on, man? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Yeah, Grady Jarrett. I know. OMT, Grady was the man. Thank you, OMT. Appreciate you joining us in here. Henry in the house. What's going on, Henry? He said, hello, Uncle Steve and Falcons family. Hope you all are having a great one. I am so far. I cannot complain. WCG, hadn't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us here. He said his free agent class isn't as good, but Falcons only have $8 million free with draft class, roughly taking about 8. Extremely good point. Going to get back to that in a second as well. Entourage says, hopefully Grady can play on a team, not 7-10 and 8-9. I got news for him. He might have got signed by a team that's going to go 7-10 or 8-9 in that division. He just might. Nando, what's going on, man? I hadn't seen you in a minute, brother. Good to see you, man. Said today is the day that as fans that is on Logo Business, give 97 Grady Jarrett his flowers and all the things he's done for the community as well. I agree. David says now it's time to get rid of Auburn Yamada. I'm not worried about our inactivity. This is a strong free agent class. In my opinion, no one is out there going to change our lives. Willie Doc said, oh, yeah, the big condition. I got some more too, man. Yeah, that's one of my I think I told the story when I was coming from overseas and I was over in Germany in the military. And back then it was different because you used to back then music, sometimes it was right around the same time, but then a lot of times they didn't play as much R&B unless somebody sent you tapes and videos and stuff like that in care packages. But I wasn't able to keep up with a lot of the music going on, probably from, let's see, I went there in 90. I'm gonna tell you when I went. I left to go over there the week they had the LA riots. Never forget that. That was like 2 or 3 days after that. And I came back in 95. And when in 95, yeah, 94 or 95. And when I came back, the first song, as soon as I hit the ground, remember they didn't even have, the stuff on the plane where you can listen to live radio and things like that. Very first thing they played was it wasn't even this one. It was You See Me Swinging was the first one, but I got into Stokely and Company real good. So just to get you on that. Henry says Grady will be missed. Thank him for his time at ATL. Future Falcons Ring of Honor. Yes. My brother Ghost Peppers in the house. What's up, Ghost? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us here. Thank everybody for joining us. I knew I wanted to jump in the chat real quick. I know because I know a lot of y'all hit and miss because I know it's a lot of your favorite Falcons folks been on. I would literally just finish listening to one of my favorites, Tidy and Atlanta Bird Gang, and a lot of the fellows were in there, Dre and John Harris, and a lot of the dudes who end up collabing with me a lot of times, and they were pretty much along the same lines of what I was thinking. So I wanted to make sure I jumped in and caught all these contributors, like my buddy Rusty Moore doing this thing. He said, I really thought 97 would be back on a rework deal. I was shocked when I seen that. Losing Dahlman hurts too. We have a lot of holes on D to field with very few assets to do it. He said, I'm worried, to be honest. Kelvin, what's going on, Kelvin? Hadn't seen you in a minute as well. He says, Grady, thanks for the memories and hope you get a ring, big man, even thought that quarterback looked a lot borderline bust. Yeah, just my little eye test. Oh, yeah, I hear you. So I wanted to sweep the rug on everybody just to make sure we invited everybody in properly. I thank y'all for coming in. So first and foremost, we got to talk about Grady Jarrett, man. Grady Jarrett, drafted in 2015, obviously one of the two holdovers from the Atlanta Falcons from the magical Super Bowl run. Matter of fact, the last playoff run we had, 16 and 17. He and the recently signed, Jake Matthews to his contract. So my thoughts on that are, I really can't, Grady Jarrett, as far as what he was, as far as the symbol of this team, and especially the defense, during the latter half, especially like the last 5 years, it's clear now that I think, honestly, it's more Jesse Bates' team and probably AJ Terrell than it would be Grady. But give Grady Jarrett a lot of credit. Obviously, he's a good ambassador for the city of Atlanta. What he's meant, he's represented for the last couple of years. But I'll be honest with you, I was calling for this last year, and not because of anything personal against Grady Jarrett. It was about the very ballooned contract at the end. And Grady was probably in a position where he was like, well, look, y'all, we've restructured mine a couple of times a few years ago, if y'all remember. And he was probably saying, okay, well, let's see if I can get any more money. And quite honestly, if we're really just being 100 about the whole situation, has Grady played at even a Pro Bowl level over the last 5 years, notwithstanding the injury year? Has Grady truly played that? I don't think he has. And that's not personal. That's not a shot. That's not a like a good take. He hasn't. Great. I was more concerned this year when I saw Grady. Grady's probably been in the best shape that I've seen him. And when I say best shape, he looked lean. He looked more chiseled this year than I've seen in a couple of years. Now, the problem with that is, Grady was not brought in here to be an edge. Brady was brought in here to be a big stuffer in the middle. And I was a little concerned when I saw him as much in shape as again, great for his physical well-being and going forward. But at the same time, dude, we need some big uglies up there in the front. And Grady got kind of cute, if you know what I mean, as far as, the body. I mean, I'm still big boy, but I was just a little concerned from that end. Grady has been solid, of course, when he wasn't hurt. Is Grady somebody that I don't think this is definitely not on the Matt Ryan level. This is not on the Julio Jones level. This is not even on the Roddy White level. This is a guy who was very, for the most part, kind of consistent on the defensive line. And brutally honest, from the last 7 years, man, it's just kind of hard to try to act like on the field his play was super special. His play was consistent. His play was good. At times, borderline Pro Bowl-ish. But at the age of 31, I can't pay him $20 million and say, oh, that's because you've been a great ambassador for the city. Those are the tough decisions. And for all the stuff that Terry Fontenot gets criticisms, a lot of it justified, this is a move that I said you had to do. And I still think it would have been easier last year because you were bringing in a new regime. You were bringing in a new coach. You were bringing in a new coaching staff. I think a great way to kind of erase like, hey, this is my era and not Arthur Smith's, not, still remnants of the Thomas Dimitroff-ish era going on. This would have wiped the slate. Jake Matthews, let's call it like it is. Jake Matthews don't miss games. And Jake Matthews is not an all-pro. But I'll say on the offensive line, left tackles, I don't think it's 20 better than him. Let me put it this way. I don't think it's 20 better than him. Maybe I'll throw that to 30. And when you have, somebody who's a consistent starter in the NFL and just doesn't get hurt, and if you see his family lineage, you'll know that's kind of how they roll. So much respect to Grady Jarrett. Had the pleasure of speaking to a couple of his family members at one time. We were kind of close by. They seem to be very nice people. Man of the Year nominee a couple of times, so you know what he's doing is good for the city. But at the same time, folks, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Now, his cut took us down to $9 million. I don't think it's the only move that's going to happen. I think they are seriously waiting to see what happens with Kirk Cousins. Y'all see the movement going around with Sam Darnold, big contract in Seattle. Good for him. Justin Fields say, I'll take a little bit instead of I mean, y'all think about it. Justin Fields hadn't made big money since he's been in the league. This is his first chance to make some 10 million plus, right? So congratulations to him for the Jets. So when you start thinking about our situation right now with Kirk Cousins, what you're hoping for, and you might not get it, so I'm not a fool. What you're hoping for is you got a desperate enough team to say, oh, do I really want to get caught up with one of these career backups on my team, or do I want to take a chance? And I might end up paying a little bit for Kirk Cousins, but the Falcons have already paid him most of the money. Do I take a chance on taking him for $27 million? Now, I do think the Falcons will probably have to go to the table and say, okay, well, we might suck up about 10 of this. But to get that albatross contract off the books is a huge deal if they can. Will they? Chances are probably low. If you look at the teams right now that need a quarterback, Tennessee, who has the first pick, they're not going to be worried about it because they could pick their quarterback. And same for Cleveland. At number 2, they just traded for Kenny Pickett, so at least they're trying to get their backup situation straight. Now, when you talk about, I mean, we're running out of teams now. At first, it was the Jets. Jets just got Justin Fields. I'm sure he's going to start. The Raiders just got Geno Smith. Act like they're going to pay Geno some more money, too. So now, all of a sudden, your options have become pretty, pretty limited. So as far as Kirk Cousins' places to go, it's not a lot. I'm looking at the list right now. The Giants, I mean, has really, quite honestly, that might be it. The Giants and one of the 3 teams is going to need a quarterback. And I guess what they're going to say is, are we going to get somebody like Kirk Cousins? Or are we just going to wait for the Arch Manning sweepstakes? Maybe take a chance on Jackson Dart in the second round. Or something like that. And folks, for everybody that's just like, well, just go ahead and get rid of Kirk Cousins. That sounds good until you see that $65 million hit, which isn't that much better if you do it after June 1st either. It's a little better. And Kirk Cousins is in a place where he can go out and possibly try to negotiate stuff if the Falcons say he has a no trade clause. If you really want to get out of here, go do your own homework. Get your agent to go do your homework if it's that bad. So from that standpoint, the moves so far, or I should say lack of moves, is not a shock. Grady Jarrett getting cut, not a shock. I'm more shocked we haven't heard any news about Onyemata. I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. Probably not as big of a savings as Grady is, but you at some point you got to let some of these young defensive line see if they're worth it. See if the Roops or the Dorfuses can play. And as far as free agency is concerned, folks, I mean, don't get twisted. I was looking at, I want to say, I'm trying to think what channel was it, ESPN, NFL. Man, it looks like New England has won today with free agency. Of course they did. They were horrible last year. And that nobody wants to play for them. People aren't going to New England to get some of that Super Bowl rub off of them. They're going for them because New England got the money. I see the Giants as I'm looking at the scroll coming up, Giants just re-signed Darius Slayton, 3 years, $36 million. So you need to have a quarterback in there somewhere. So we'll figure it out. Let me go down the list here a little bit more. William Amy, what's going on, man? How you doing, William? He said not in Bod prime anymore after he got hurt 2 years ago. Well, again, as far as physical in shape, oh, yes, he is. But I thought he was a little undersized this year, William. For a defensive tackle, which is really what he's supposed to be. He didn't come in here to be an edge rusher, even though they put him on the edge a lot of times. He came in here to push through the middle. I thought he was a little light. 270, 280 in the NFL right now on the defensive line is light, unless you got some special skills. Raphael Sumter in the house. What's going on? What's going on? He said Grady's play was faded. Absolutely. I agree with you. My brother Nicholas in the house, man. What's going on, man? How you feeling, brother? He said, you don't win the Super Bowl the first day of free agency. Falcons have an offseason plan, and it looks like they're following it. Looks like teams are overspending to bring in some of these guys. Falcons are getting through the first wave of free agency and look to be bargain bin shopping, a.k.a. Dollar Tree. Also, I'm sure they're expecting bigger contributions from the 2024 class. Expect bigger roles from Root, Dorless, Bertrand, and Trice coming back. Also, they have to hit home runs on this 2025 draft, especially not making a splash in, and I don't know whether that got cut off, but yeah, but everything you're saying is right on point. Don't get overhyped, y'all, because we're not making big money moves. That was last year. When you signed Mooney, when you signed Kurt, that was our year last year. And people were saying the same thing. Atlanta won the free agency. You know, just because you got the biggest pockets don't mean you win the free agent day. If you're in New England right now, you're trying to say, okay, we getting all these people. Is Drake May the answer? Are you sure? I know there's hope with Mike Vrabel there, thinking he's going to bring back some of the luster of Bill Belichick. I mean, maybe he will. But I don't know. WCG says, I'm okay with Grady Jarrett leaving if they cut Onyemata. Now he has Saint stench on him. We need bigger guys at D-tackle. That's what I'm talking about. We do. Raphael said we weren't hearing Grady's name called during these games, so he wasn't making plays anymore. I agree. Henry said the Rams just released Cooper Kupp. Falcons could jump on it. Nah. Cooper's going to want way too much money. I got to disagree with you on that, Henry. He would be nice, but that's too much. William says, I mean, he's not the same person. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. WCG says defense won't matter if Raheem continues to play 20 yards off like he's done his whole career. If you're talking about the secondary, which they did kind of change that in the second half until folks got hurt, they did switch that up a little bit. But fair point. Barbara Ridley in the house. What's going on, Barbara? How you doing? Thank you. And as y'all coming in again, thank y'all for coming into Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're here for the first time. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like the video. I really would appreciate it. Again, I know y'all have a lot of folks to choose from today. I am honored that y'all are coming in here to at least give me your opinions on some of these things today. I'm going to have an impromptu poll coming up here in a second. Just want to see where everyone is on this to make sure. Barbara says, I said they should move in from Grady, David, and Kyle. Try to find a sucker to take Kirk. Upset that Falcons made no moves. Henderson should be the move. Okay. Now going back to what you said, this is early. That just because we don't make moves on the first day does not mean it's all over with. I really do feel like there are enough quality guys, maybe not all stars, all pros, and things like that. But there are enough quality guys that you can kind of go bargain bin shopping. Remember when you used to go to Walmart and look at that little thing where you see all them old tapes, and old shouldn't be the word, but tapes that you were trying to replace back when DVDs were in and stuff like that. That's what we're doing right now, and that should have been expected. We're not going to get stuck at this $9 million thing. They're gonna figure out some stuff later on. I think right now they are truly trying everything in their power before this Saturday, when they have to automatically pay Kirk Cousins that $10 million. They are going to try everything. And, I agree. Now, as far as Hendrickson is concerned, here's my concern about that. Hendrickson just watched Max Crosby and Myles Garrett get paid. Now, even though I don't consider Hendrickson as good as Crosby and definitely not as good as Myles Garrett, but his numbers don't lie. You led the league in sacks total for the last couple of years. I think 36 total, something like that. But either way, that's a lot of sacks. That's more than the Falcons. I wouldn't say both years, but it's a good chunk. They have more than the Falcons did this year. That career number. So he's going to lowball at least for $30 million. Yeah, you take the trade. I think he's owed $19 million, if I'm not mistaken. I got to see exactly what it is that he's owed for that money. And then on top of that, if you trade for him, you're going to have to give up one of the draft pieces that we actually going to need because you don't have money. So it sounds good in theory. I'm not going to poo-poo it if it were to happen, but I am at a point where I am going to say, I think the way we're doing this is right. And we're not going to be first day players. There's nobody out here to reach for. We have our quarterback of the future. We have our offense. You just need to fill in the defense with more quality, maybe more experienced players. Give the young guys a shot, but at the same time, don't sell out completely on players. I would have loved to give Josh Sweat a chance, but shoot, the Cardinals overpaid for him. His stock was up after the Super Bowl. I argued that he should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl over Jalen Hurts. So good for him. Willie Dot says offensive line age like fine wine, defensive line age like Coke when you don't screw the cap on. That's a very profound statement. You're right. And look, folks, we can bash McGarry all day. And a lot of times he needs to. He better step his game up this year, especially. But the continuity with this offensive line, that's not to be underestimated. I think it's a good thing to hold on to Jake, especially when he's dependable and he doesn't get hurt a lot. He said, fool me once, another 7-10 season served up Piper High. I'll disagree with you on that. I do think the mere fact that we have some better quarterback play is going to make a difference on this team. The quarterback play made a difference in the first 9 games, and I think it's going to make a difference with Michael Penix Jr. in the house. Carlos says, I think Justin emerges with Ben Johnson. Is that Ben Johnson? Is that what you're talking about? Ben John? Maybe I'm missing where you're going. Come back and tell me what I might be missing what I'm reading. Nicholas says, I believe Kenny Pickett getting traded to the Browns definitely changes a lot as well. The Colts. Yeah, you know what? I want to say they probably want to give my man one more shot. And if you're going to bring somebody in, I'm not sure the Colts would go $27 million or even $20 million. But that is somebody else to think about. Yeah, the Giants, that's really the only team right now. That's really the only team I look at. I'm going to look at this list again. Tennessee and Cleveland. So it's Tennessee, Cleveland, and the Giants with the top 3 picks. 2 of them, one of them is going to be the odd team out. So then you got Cleveland. They have their quarterback. Jacksonville has their quarterback. Vegas now has their quarterback. Jets now have their quarterback. Carolina, New Orleans, Chicago, Frisco will have their quarterback when they re-sign Purdy. Dallas, Miami, Indianapolis with a question mark. Then you got us. Got Arizona, Cincinnati. Seattle just signed Darnold. Folks, I think people are set right now. That's why I say unless you, with the NFL free agents, and I'm going to look real quick at the quarterbacks that are out there, and let's put available quarterbacks because they have Zach. They have Zach Wilson on here, but Zach did he just resign? Zach shouldn't be on this list. I just saw Zach Wilson's name get re-signed. So you're talking about right now quarterbacks: Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota. We've seen both of those horror stories before. Drew Lock, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Matt Jones, Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Mason Rudolph. Do y'all get the point? That Kirk Cousins, even hobbling, is better than every quarterback on this list. So if you're the Giants or whoever the team is going to be the odd team out, you got to hope that somebody is desperate and wants to make that move. That's the hope, I think. Barbara says maybe the Browns will take Cousins. I wish. I doubt it. Not with that number 2 pick. I would start up and take one of the other guys. I would take one of the 2 other guys right now. I would. Dondre says the Giants take him. I'm not sure. ATL Hometown Falcon said, we know Kurt done. We know Grady done. Gone. We got something. Put me on. I'm gonna tell you why I haven't. I don't know if you watched yesterday. You might not have let it on. My internet was going way off yesterday when I had my fellow person Big Low on here, and from the moment he came on, so I apologize. Once I kind of get that together, I'll bring guests in here again because I am interested to hear what a lot of people might say. But if anybody was here yesterday, y'all know the technical difficulties I was having once I put him on as a guest, and obviously I want to put him on and yourself. So I would love that, man. Lisa Shepard in the house. What is going on, Lisa? She said, hey, Steve. So it looks like most of the starting quarterback positions are being filled. Do you think Cousins overestimated being wanted by other teams? Well, I kind of think he did. One of the biggest things to me that was a little bit surprising is that Seattle, the moves that Seattle made rebuilding moves, to be honest with you, until they signed Sam Darnold. Now, I know they got Nijma up there at wide receiver, and I know the running back, was that Charbonnet, up there as well. But I think, I don't know. When you give away DK, you give away and Tyler Lockett, he kind of runs into that Grady Jarrett thing. What have you done for me lately? Tyler Lockett is nice. As a matter of fact, as a coming off the bench guy, I would love Tyler Lockett. But Seattle smelled a lot like they were doing some rebuilding. So, Lisa, we're really down to, again, whoever doesn't get a quarterback out of that top 3. And right now, it's looking like the Giants might be the odd man out. I'm pretty sure Tennessee is going to draft a person. And you got to remember, from Kirk Cousins' standpoint, Kirk Cousins is probably going to say, look, I don't want to get in the situation with Cleveland, Tennessee, or the Giants that I'm going to a team where y'all going to draft a quarterback. I just saw that movie last year. That didn't work out too well for me. I need somebody that could really use a starting quarterback and I don't have to look behind my shoulders. And I think I don't know whether that's paranoia or not. I know Kirk has made a lot of money. I don't know why he would complain, but I guess that's ego at this time. I get it. I'm not mad at him. Make what you can. But I do think he might have overestimated being wanted by other teams. I really do. WCG says anyone crying about free agency need to realize that Titans just signed a swing tackle and paying him like a franchise left tackle. So the point that he's making is a valid one. If you're a team like Tennessee, Chicago, or somebody like that, you got to overpay folks to come in. Because, look, I'll say this. Jesse Bates wasn't going to get the money that we paid him a few years ago. But the Falcons had to pay him. They had to overpay him, and at that time made him the highest paid safety that particular year. Because nobody wanted to come to the Falcons. Falcons were are a perennial losing franchise for the last 7 years. So you're going to overpay. People like Tennessee are going to overpay for guys like that. Arizona is going to overpay to get Josh Sweat in there to their team. You know, that's what's going on. Keenan Melvin in the house. What's going on, Keenan? How you doing, brother? What's up, Honk? If you had to guess who you think would be our first free agent signing? Tell you what, let's look. As I see here, our old buddy Footless Hollins just got signed to New England. That should be good. He did some quality stuff for he did some quality things for New England. I'm sorry, for Buffalo when he was there. Let me pull this up real quick and let me see if I can get it real big for some of my folks that's like me that might have some vision issues. So these are some of the available folks right now. I'll take this off right quick, Keenan. Okay, so the Joey Bosa. Now, Joey Bosa just saw, even though he's hurt, he just saw Khalil Mack get 1 year, $18 million. So I don't think he's going to look less than $15 million on a 1 year. Is that worth a 1 year for y'all? I don't know. Von Miller might be done. He might sign with a contender, but I know he's not coming to Atlanta for less. Draymond Jones is still out there. Matt Judon, obviously, I don't think we're going back that road. I think I actually saw Javarius Ward get signed, so this might not be totally up to date. Is Zadarius Smith off the back too? I don't know if I've seen him. Chase Young is an interesting. It's somebody interesting. You can't overlook that 26. Being 26 years old, is that somebody we would think about, or is that somebody that we'll have to overpay to be in here? I would love to see them give a shot to possibly Chase Young, but the price would have to be right. It would have to be, to me. ATL Hometown says, if QB says to keep Kyle, let it play out one more year. I don't mind doing that, but that's a lot of money for a mid-level production. He's making $10 million this year. For a tight end, I think that's a lot. That's a lot. You know, that's a whole bunch. He said, "Oh, you be growing that Moses beard, white wisdom, man." Oh man, yeah, that thing just got a mind of its own. There's more hair to grow underneath me than on top of the head. So, I got you. Antonio James in the house. What's going on, Antonio? He said, "What's up, Unc? I'm hoping one team to fall for Kirk Cousin good guy BS." I am too, man, and I'm pretty sure Terry them are as well. again, for those of you who don't know and are wondering why in the mess is Kirk Cousins still on this roster? If Kirk Cousins get cut, y'all, we automatically have to endure a $65 million cap, which I only have to do with this year. But that's a lot of money. That's a lot of space. I think after June 1st, I believe it goes down to 40. Let me double check here. Uh, I'm pretty sure dead cap after. Hold on a second, y'all. I'm trying to figure this out. There it is. Manage roster. If we were to designate Kirk Cousins for dead cap hit, it would still be $40 million. Now, granted, that's better than 65, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So, I mean, we're in that position. Ron Smith, what's going on, man? What's going on? He said Steelers need a quarterback. Steelers getting ready to get Aaron Rodgers. They're either gonna get Aaron Rodgers or re-sign Russell Wilson. They're not getting they're not taking Kirk Cousins. They're not. I can pretty much guarantee you that. I mean, unless there's some secret double handshake stuff going behind, I don't think that's gonna happen. But that being said, they're supposed to be talking to Aaron Rodgers, so I mean, I don't know which one you want. I'm almost wondering from Arthur Smith's standpoint, what kind of quarterback he really wants. He seemed to thrive having somebody who had a little bit of mobility. Not that I say thrive, but he seems to have wanted to have somebody with a little bit of mobility. He had Mariota, he had Dez, he had Justin in there, Justin and Russell switching up. So he kind of, I think, prefers somebody that has a little bit of mobility. So I think that's what he'd go for. That's why I would think it's no way that the Steelers would be interested. Willie Doc say Falcons truly meant they'll be content with Kirk being the QB for. I mean, but why not though? I mean, listen, if everything works out this year like that, and Kirk just is a malcontent on the side, if you're the Falcons, that's better than the $65 million cap hit that you're going to take this year. It's just better than that. Denver was in a great situation where they drafted well, had people in place, and they went with the young guys and had a special season. And they had Sean Payton. Like him or not like him, Sean Payton is one of the best offensive coaches in the league, and he made that team a winner last year. I'm not shocked at that. But yeah, look, dude, I'm not one of them people that's going to sit back and say, well, if Kirk doesn't come, I'm not coming back to a game again. That's the most ridiculous thing. You got to do what's best for the team. And at some point, Kirk might get tired. And Kirk might say, you know what, agent, let's go to the Falcons. Let's renegotiate. Let's restructure this contract so it could be friendly for somebody, for y'all to trade to me. And then we do that. So, yeah. Barbara says Rodgers going to the Steelers. It sounds like at least he's negotiating with them. So, I mean, and think about it. Most of the dominoes have already fallen. So really you only have Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and all of the other guys that I just mentioned. And out of the quarterbacks that I mentioned, is there anybody right now above Rodgers and Kirk Cousins? You're gonna have to pay somebody if you're Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh doesn't like to pay, but you're gonna have to pay somebody. I just don't think it would be smart. And I'm somebody who wants the Falcons to get rid of Kirk Cousins. But if I'm Pittsburgh, you would be foolish to take on that contract, especially knowing how he ended up last year. Why would I do that? WCG says it's hard picking what team will need a quarterback because we don't know what team Dion is picking for his son to go to because he blew through every combine interview he had masterfully. He did a great job standing up. Listen, at the end of the day, with these guys, Cam doesn't need to do any. I mean, they might do their pro day. I mean, Shador doesn't really need to do a pro day. Everybody act like that's just overlooked. Man, these dudes, as I heard somebody say, these guys are professional now. They make more money. They make more money right now than second-round picks, third-round picks, fourth-round picks coming out of college. So from that standpoint, I'm not worried about Shador. Shador is going to be fine. So, I mean, they're going to be just fine. Barbara says Russ going to the Titans. Now, if Russ goes to the Titans, then the Titans will probably either get Travis Hunter or my dude Abdul Carter. Now that will pretty much end all the speculation. Cleveland right now just kind of gave you their hand. They're bringing Pickett over, and they just signed Myles Garrett to the highest non-quarterback contract in NFL history. I don't think they're trying to spend 27 more on Kirk Cousins. I don't think they are. But if Russ goes to the Titans, that pretty much tells you those Shador and Cam is going to end up in either Cleveland or New York. And I'm sure Prime would probably want Shador to go to New York. T. Will in the house. What's going on, T. Will? When I talked about one of those really good Atlanta sports podcasters, content creators, T. Will is right up there on the top of the list. Y'all make sure y'all watch for my ATL TV. He's on pretty much every morning doing his thing. Appreciate you, brother. He always lets us, lets us get in there and do his thing. Slim Dollar in the house. What's going on, Slim? Slim says, I think the Falcons are going to release Kirk Cousins, but they are going to wait until most teams have their quarterbacks. So now Kirk Cousins, it will be difficult to get on a team now. That's why I think, Slim, you haven't heard a lot out of that camp. One of the reasons why I think you haven't heard anything is because Kurt's probably looking. I think the same situation when Matt got ticked off a few years ago when they were talking to Deshaun Watson. I think it's the same thing. He went in there, had the meeting with Blank at the time, and he was like, hey, what's really going on? He said, well, look, Matt, if you that disgruntled, go find a team. Let's see what happens, and we move on. But right now, the Falcons have the upper hand. I know everybody is ticked off at the contract. Of course we are, because nobody thought we, kind of like dive from that 6-3 start. But we are where we are right now. Kurt is going to take up cap room, whether we cut him, whether we trade him, no matter what, it's a significant amount of money. So if he's going to sit, folks, he just might sit on the bench. He just might. And if he does, so be it. I would rather do that than take a $65 million hit. I would. The Dixon Way, man. Larry in the house. Y'all make sure y'all check out Larry on the Dixon Way. Larry covers. I used to be able to say, start at one little thing. Larry covers the Falcons. Then Larry, next couple of months, Larry covered the Falcons. He covered the Georgia Bulldogs. He covered the Braves. Then he covered the Hawks. Then he covered if Atlanta United was on TV, he probably covered Atlanta United, but most times you can't find them on TV. They're only on MLS Pass. So Larry covers it all. If it's a main sporting event, you want to watch the Dixon Way. Him and his wife do a great job doing their thing over there on the Dixon Way. Y'all check him out on YouTube doing their own thing. He has a plethora of platforms. So y'all make sure y'all check him out. He said, have a great stream, Steve. I appreciate that, man. He's probably doing something. Oh yeah, the Hawks play tonight. So definitely do like I do. When I go and I see either the Hawks are in a close game or either the Hawks getting blown out, there's nobody that you want to hear that will be more entertaining than watching Larry. Again, this is sad. I like when I want my Atlanta teams to lose. I mean, to win. That was a Freudian slip. I want them to win, but when they lose, it's almost like better TV. And that's how entertaining he is. Y'all make sure y'all check him out, man. Round one said, Kurt better hurry up. I mean, what is he hurrying for? I mean, and look, all of this thing about Kurt, I mean, Kurt's going to get paid no matter what. So, I mean, I know we want to get him off. I know we want to get him off the team, but Kurt's going to get paid, y'all. T. Will said, thank you, Uncle Steve. Anytime, my brother. Anytime. Keep your man, what's going on now? How you doing now? Good to see you. Said, if not Kurt, who is going to back up Penix? Oh, did you hear that plethora of guys that I was talking about with the, I mean, at that point, you don't even care. I say you don't care, but you just want somebody almost kind of, I was trying to go here to the quarterback list. And again, I think some of this hasn't been updated because didn't I see Zach Wilson get re-signed? If somebody can come through, I could have sworn I saw that he was re-signed. I could be wrong, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll take just as long as they're upright. Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, we're not going to go Taylor Heineke and Marcus Mariota again. Drew Lock, I'll take. Jameis Winston, I'll take. But I think Jameis' goofiness to me, and I mean that in a fun-hearted way because I just need Michael to be the man, and I don't need distractions like that in the locker room. Shoot, Cooper Rush, I'll take him. So, I mean, there are some guys out there that you can take. We don't need a superstar. We just need somebody healthy that just in case he not need to come in for a play or two, if you ask me. Lisa says, so who has the most leverage between the Falcons and the Kirk Cousins? Is it Kurt Pinocchio? Oh, the Falcons got it all right now. Because he's somewhere he doesn't want to be. The Falcons are going to have to cut him a check one way or the other. So the Falcons are like, hey, you can be mad all you want to, but we kind of control this. Only thing you control is saying, I don't want to get traded. But here's the problem. Now he wants to get traded, Lisa. He went in there allegedly and said, hey, start or bust. So the Falcons hold all the cards. She said, you just answered my question. Oh, I must have answered it. Oh, man. ATL Hometown says, do you see me in the chat? Like, I see a white beard. We just let Judon go, and we get another draft pick. What do you think, dog, from old school? I mean, Judon, I mean, we didn't let him go. Judon was a free agent. So, I don't feel like rewinding Judon. Unless you get Judon for $2 or $3 million, I don't see that. A lot of people are down on Simmons too. I would give Simmons another shot, but maybe that's me. I think he was better than Richie Grant. So again, shoot me if you want, but that's my opinion. He said Kurt will not be in the locker room. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I think he will. I think he will until they find a deal that's going to be enough to get him off this roster without absolutely sucking half. I can't say half. What is like 65 million out of 280? If my math is going back to me right, that's about what 1/6, 1/5, whatever it is. Willie Doc, man, you got another one, man. You know what? I'm gonna have to let me see what I got over here. Can we do this one?
Whoever my Falcons. Hey, that's my team. You wanna hear news, wanna hear songs, then chill with Uncle Steve.
Willie Doc, I appreciate you, man. Thank
Whoever
you.
my Falcons. Hey, that's my
Appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much. He said, Willie says, do we have starting caliber defensive tackle replacements for Grady and Onyemata already on the team? If not, who do we go get? That's two great questions. If you ask me right now, I'm going to say this. I really do feel like this is the question I'm going to ask you, Willie. Do you feel like Grady was such a level above what we had, or we really just didn't give our young guys a shot yet? Everybody's fawning all over the Philadelphia Eagles and the stuff they've done, which is the reason why they let Milton Williams go today and everything, because they threw those young guys out there and gave them opportunity early. So the problem is, I give you a half answer about do we have people already on the team? I don't know, because we haven't given them a shot. When you start talking about Dorfus, when you start talking about Rook, and I know Rook was hurt a little bit, but you got to let them boys get in there and see what they can do. Especially when you talk about Rook, man. He got drafted too high for you not to get him in there. We were paying Eddie Goldman to come out of retirement for the third, fourth time to come on the line. And there was times that Eddie did well, but sometimes you gotta let them young boys eat. This is one of the reasons why I'm not mad at bringing Jeff Ulbrich in there, because I need somebody who can coach these young guys up. When Ulbrich was here as a linebacker coach, he had to coach up the likes of Sean was hurt most of the Super Bowl season, but Deion Jones, Devondre Campbell before he started quitting, and stuff like that. So if you have a coach that is able to get to some of these young guys, maybe we will see if we can get some of these defensive linemen. And then we brought in what's the guy name? Ollie. We brought Ollie in. So Olive. We brought him in to help us out on the defensive line. So it's kind of I can't really give a full answer for that. As far as some of the free agents out there on the defensive tackle spot, let's see what we got on here. Now, keep in mind, for some reason, Spot Track may not be updating some of these. Raekwon Davis coming from the Colts, 28 years. Well, he's 27 now. He'll be 28 by the time the year is here. Austin Johnson, 30 years old. Greg Gaines from Tampa Bay. I think I saw Greg Gaines re-sign, if I'm not mistaken. Jonathan Hankins from Seattle. So you have some fill-in guys, but I'm not sure you have star quality guys. But at this point, I'm not looking for star quality. Just get me some rotational solid guys. You don't need to win. I'm sorry. You don't need superstars sometimes to win. You just need team effort to win. And I think that's what you talk about when you talk about what the Falcons need as far as that defensive tackle. Thank you again, man, for the support, brother. I appreciate you. ATL Hometown says, if we let Judon go, we get a draft pick. It depends on his value. I don't think his value, that's how that compensatory stuff is kind of figured out. Judon ended up getting you, was it 5.5 sacks? There's a way that they figure that out as far as the compensatory is concerned. So we might get something, but it's probably going to be 6 or 7 if we do. But yeah, there's a possibility that he could be worth a draft pick. Billy Mills, what's going on, Mills? How you doing, brother? Again, appreciate y'all coming in, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. I appreciate you. Hit the like button if you like what you're hearing. Just some talk, getting involved with you all. I appreciate everyone joining us tonight. ATL Hometown said, let's get some beef. We got, yeah, and I agree with that. So that's my point I was making earlier about Grady. I would love to see Grady, would have loved to see them get some big boys. And remember, y'all, we do have a draft. I know we don't have all 7 picks, but we do have a draft where we might be able to get some big boys in there or get some coachable guys in here that we can put on that line. It's going to be interesting. Millie says, Unc, I'm going to tell you like I told everybody else, Grady wasn't doing ish anyway. It's been time 2 years ago if you ask me. Millie, I think if you heard me, you've been around me long enough that I've been screaming that the beginning of last year. It's not personal. I know a lot of people, oh, Grady is such a, Grady right now, and it is you almost hate it because poor Jake Matthews doesn't get his love because he was here at the Super Bowl year. Grady is the last memory of the team that was. People still thinking about the 3 sacks he had on Brady in the Super Bowl. They thinking about how he was an anchor on that young defensive line at that time. So I think people just want to hold on to that fleeting memory of when we were good. And I get that. We all do. We all still hold 2016 like that right now because we haven't had a lot to, truly celebrate since. Yeah, we had a decent year in 17 as well, but nothing meets going to the Super Bowl. So we've got to start, doing our thing as far as moving forward to the next wave. Remember, 2015, you're talking about Grady Jarrett. I akin that very similar to Roddy White. There were folks that said, oh, man, they got rid of Roddy. They'll never be good. What do you mean? What do you mean, man? Y'all got Muhammad Sanu. He's never been anything. He just plays second fiddle to AJ Green. Why did they bring him? We should have kept Roddy White. And Atlanta balled out the next year. And Muhammad Sanu was a great part of it. Am I saying that's going to happen in 2025? No. But what I'm saying is heroes leave and we can still thrive. I think one of the most disappointing things as a fan this past year is that the Atlanta Falcons were a playoff caliber team last year. Y'all can do what you want to say what you want to say. Yes, we were 8-9. We made very critical psychological mistakes. We had a coach that cost us one game. He did cost us the Washington game. I'm sure to a man he'll tell you that 5 years from now. He cost us that game. We had a quarterback that was too selfish to tell everybody, hey, I'm hurt. And cost us 4 games down the stretch. When you start talking about everywhere from the New Orleans game on down to the Raiders game, which he almost lost, would have been 5 straight losses. So we made some critical mistakes last year psychologically. I really do think the Falcons are set up for another battle with Tampa Bay for the NFC South. And maybe, just maybe this year, Raheem can learn from the mistakes. Terry Fontenot can learn from some of the moves that we made. I'm not mad at the Falcons for doing what they did with Kirk Cousins. It's almost similar to this year. Think about this year. Think about the quarterbacks available this year. For the second year in a row, the Minnesota Vikings showed you that we can make any quarterback look good if you have Justin Jefferson and Addison on your team. They got Kirk Cousins paid and just got Sam Darnold paid. Is Sam Darnold really that guy? I don't think so. So my point is the quarterback level available in free agency is pretty much garbage. And when I say garbage, I'm not saying you probably can't, but it's really not that great. This year, the free agent class was Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, Jacoby Brissett, Russell Wilson. That's your free agent field for quarterback this year. Are y'all going to sit here and tell me those are guys that are winners right now? Well, let me scratch that. Let me back up. Are you telling me that these are high quality, you will be the difference between me making a playoffs or not quarterback? Let me stop with, because none of those will. Look, Sam Darnold was 14-3 last year, and no matter how bad the last two games was, he won 14 games, and he was pretty solid. I give him credit. Justin Fields, say what we want to say. I'm not trying to say the young man can't play football, but he was 5-0, and what was it, 5-0 or 4-0, whatever it was, and he beat us the first game of the year. So good for him that he's able to get his money. But aside of that, are these difference-making quarterbacks similar to last year when we got Kirk Cousins? We were so desperate for anybody who could play quarterback that we overpaid for Kirk instead of saying, hey, let me go out and, go get somebody that can just bridge me to Michael Penix and do it that way. So, that's my thing on that. Dan the Man says Tampa got some good players today. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Tampa. I really am, because that's going to be who we battling, Dan. That's who we battling. WCG said these draft picks, Falcons didn't want to play. Falcons will have to play, and if we don't make the playoffs next year, we clean the deck with a new GM and coach. And they know that. They know that. They absolutely know that. Billy says, I hope it shows the people that are fans of players instead of the logo. That players come and go all the time. Our team ain't exempt from that. That's just how I feel. I really don't care, to be honest. I mean, it's a fair statement. I think, Millie, people who are fans of the team, like myself, I think it's hard to get that message over with. Man, I keep talking about it over and over again, not to just point anything towards me. It's like the people in here I had to fight verbally, because there were people that just because Desmond Ridder wore the jersey that I'm supposed to say he's the greatest thing, supposed to say sliced bread. That doesn't mean I didn't support him when he played for the Falcons, because obviously I wanted him to win. But that doesn't mean that he's the greatest quarterback in the league. And that's my, spiel. So I hear you 100%. WCG says, all we heard about is Kirk Cousins wanted to start. What we haven't heard is teams wanting Kirk as the starter. After Kirk hide and lied, can't see many coaches wanting him. That's a very good point. But even at that, you at least have to try. And that's what they're doing until I think Friday. And if nobody bites, Maybe we do the post June 1st designation and let him go about his business. ATL Hometown said, he said, since you won't let me on the show. Hometown, are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? My thing, I'm not getting cut off again today. My thing is not working right. But God bless you. He said we have to give Raheem 2 more years. We always give our coaches go too quick. And Penix wants Kyle Pitts. Let's go. But we need to build for. I disagree. We're in a different NFL right now. You don't necessarily have to give Raheem 2 more years. Now, if you're including this year, I mean, maybe. But, dude, it's too much money going out there and too much investment going out there for you to wait to see if the coach is going to be good. That's why you think they got rid of Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith got 3 years. I think that was 1 year too many. Michael, man, what's going on, brother? That's one of my Army buddies. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. He said Sam signed with Seattle. Yes, sir. He sure did. I saw that. And again, I wonder about what they're trying to do in Seattle. I know they have Enigma up there. And I know I'm pronouncing this rainbow. Y'all know who I'm talking about, Ohio State wide receiver. And Charbonnet. But I'm just not sure. Some of the moves were kind of puzzling to me. I know I was talking to one of my buddies online, and he was telling me that, well, Geno was going to ask for more money. I said, well, you could have still rolled this year out. And, what was Geno going to do? Like, sit out? Geno's not that guy. So I don't know. And then to see Grady bounce back a couple of hours later after we cut him. Yeah, bro, get that Munyon. See, that was one of the things too. Yeah, I was kind of like that too. I didn't think Grady would be like sobbing. Matter of fact, if anything, his agent was probably on the phone right after and say, "Hey, y'all, I'm here. Sign me up." So I think Grady was going to be fine. Willie Doc said the team is made up of players, and some we like, and some we don't want to see leave. Willie, that's the basis of everything. You got 53 players, man. And do we have our favorites? Absolutely. Do we have people that we lean on? Absolutely. But out of the 10 people that I would say right now I am a fan of. Actually, as long as the team is getting the results, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I wasn't a huge Matt Ryan guy. I loved what Matt Ryan gave us for stability, especially early. I loved he had a little bit of tough to him. I say a little bit. He had a lot of it. He didn't miss a lot of games with us. And did he frustrate you? Absolutely. But I wasn't one of them guys that I was just like, oh my God, Matt Ryan, don't talk about him. Don't whatever. Now I know John Harris might come in here and say something different. But I rooted for Matt Ryan because he made the team better at the time. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like Matt Ryan is on the level of Tom Brady, Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, all that. I'll say this. I think of his era, Matt Ryan might have been the best quarterback that didn't win a Super Bowl. How about that? But I still wasn't that, over the top. There was a moment where I could have told you Julio Jones wasn't really sticking. I loved Roddy White. I thought Roddy White did all the things. He could go long. He could go across the middle. Now, Julio, we finally ended up making him do that. But I was a big Roddy fan. So, I mean, players come and go, y'all. Players come and go. So, yeah. ATL says coaches have to learn like players. So I think that's you're still talking about Raheem. Yeah, I hear you. Millie says, I do like that move for Justin to the Jets, though. I think it gives that team the excitement that they're missing. We'll see. See what Aaron Glenn does up there. I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn. We got to go up to New York. I need to go back because I need to redeem my last trip. I went up there, was that 2 years ago when Ritter was there. And we beat New York, but that might have been the most awful game I've ever seen in person in my life. I think we won 15-9 or something like that. Lisa, thank you. You're going to help me out. Jackson Smith in Jigma. Thank you. Classmate always come in handy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Say Grady got that Bears bag so quick. He did. That's what I'm saying. But see, that's what I'm saying, Lisa. What we did was probably help him to say, well, Falcons, if y'all not going to give me the money, guess what? Somebody's in line to give it to me. That's why as from a personal standpoint, I want to give Grady the bro side hug. Appreciate you, man. You the dude. It's all good. But I will keep it moving. It ain't going to be the one of them long, oh, man, whatever. It was like, yeah, bro, appreciate you. Thanks for holding it down. And we'll save a spot for you in the ring. But other than that, this is not a day. It's not a day worth celebration. Not celebration. A day worth day of mourning. That's football, man. Other teams do it all the time. We're the only ones that think we got to hold on to characters past their prime. ATL Hometown said Julio always got hurt. That's true. That's a very valid point. When Julio was healthy, he was one of the top 2 receivers of his era. But Julio did hurt a lot. That's a fair statement. Super fair statement. Miller Mill says, I respect Matt Ryan for what he had to deal with coming in. That's right. No, that had to be difficult trying to keep a team afloat after the Vic era. Matt Ryan always get respect from me. Always will get respect. Always. Now, was he the greatest? No. Always will get respect from me. Do y'all realize Matt Ryan still got that first 5 years that Matt rolled out, I still argue is still the greatest era of the Falcons from 08 to 12. People can get mad all they want to. Got a super chat in the house. That my brother Abel in here. Man, y'all trying to get him tonight. Let's see what we got.
I will read your super chat each day, and you can talk my way, and chilling up the Steve's Lounge will always be.
Man, the Troop was. I hated that Troop ended so quick. Troop was one of my favorite groups, man. Growing up, for those of you who came through in the 90s, they were awesome. And you're awesome too, Abel. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you coming in here. I wish nothing but the best to players like Grady that gave their all and carried the colors with class. I agree with you 100%. And again, Abel, think about it. He absolutely represented Atlanta well. There wasn't any time. And even when he came a couple of years ago, when he pretty much said what every Falcon fan said, same-ish, different year. I mean, that's how we felt. I think that probably kept Grady here an extra year because everybody's like, yeah, you're pretty much right. So Grady is a very good example of repping the city. And for that, he'll always get love. If I had a restaurant, he would always eat. Well, let me say always. Eat once a year. I ain't giving him all my money. But Grady could get a free meal from me any day when he come in here, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it, Abel. Thank you. Lisa says, my friend called Julio Tap Out because he was tapping himself out of critical downs. Lisa, I don't even think that's inaccurate. There were times that I would see Julio run to the sidelines, and I say to myself, look, as much as people remember all the flack, Lisa, last year when Anthony Richardson, as the quarterback, had a little tap. Now, granted, quarterback is a whole different thing. But Julio used to kind of pull himself out, too. And I'm not saying I didn't respect Julio when he was at the top of his game, but come on. Come on. I don't know. It's true. WCG says, problem we had with Matt Ryan are the same problems haunting us today. We need a good GM, and Fontenot has a lot to prove this year. He does. But I do think he deserves at least this year. Look, Penix, I think, changes what we're talking about. Penix is the most gifted quarterback we've had, the most gifted athletic quarterback we've had since Michael got in his trouble. And I really feel like Penix is a more polished product than Michael when he came out back in 2001. So with those things in mind, I think this is the first time you can say, because for all the things I'm giving y'all about Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan could do some good things. I'm not saying Matt Ryan couldn't. But the flashes y'all got of a rookie quarterback who didn't have any practice with the guys basically during the week. They said it. They would. Michael Penix would be throwing to the practice squad. Michael Penix wasn't throwing with Mooney every day and Drake every day and Pitts every day. He was throwing to the second strings. And you saw what he did with just 3 games. Yep, he got a lot of work to do. Nobody's trying to say he's the next coming of Patrick Mahomes, but I am saying I got a lot of confidence in that young man. And I do feel like he's going to be a difference maker going into 2025. And that's something we can't say we've had, especially over the last 7 years. Folks, Matt Ryan could put up the numbers, the stats. He could put those up. But I need that quarterback that has that little different tier that you can do some other things too. That's my only thing that makes me feel much more optimistic this year than I did last year. Dwayne, what's going on, brother? Thank you for joining us in Uncle Steve's lounge. He said, what's up, Uncle Steve? I hope Fontenot and Morris have something up their sleeve. I hope so. And I hope it has something to do with getting Kirk Cousins out of town. But if they don't, we'll see. Willie Dot said, what do you know about that Troop? Man, I love Troop, man. Matter of fact, that whole album that Troop had with That's My Attitude, I'm So Soup, Spread My Wings, which is my favorite song by Troop. Spread My Wings and Fly Away. And then, of course, All I Do is Think of You. That was one of the great albums, one of the most underrated CDs, album, whatever you want to call it, of the time. I love that. ATL Hometown says Walter Knowlton should be Atlanta's 15th pick. I got you, brother. He said, got to go another chat. Okay, brother. Good job, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you joining us for the conversation, brother. Appreciate you. Millie says, I hope Terry smashes the draft a little too hard to F this draft up for the holes we need. Look, as long as he don't come out and draft a wide receiver, man, I'm good. I really am. Travis says, to see Grady leaving today is the main reason I wanted Jalen Carter over Bijan. You knew this day was coming. And it's fair, Travis. It's a fair statement. what Philadelphia did and what Howie Roseman did was something that you don't see a lot. And he gambled. Because look, if this didn't work out for Philly last year, folks like, why would you go to the same school and pick 5 or 6 players out of the you would see all of that. And people would not hold back. But guess what? It worked. So I give them a lot of credit. Daniel Woodall, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? He said, we shall sign backup quarterback. I don't see us drafting one. And ain't no way Kurt stays as a backup and Penix will save Terry, but the defense will get Raheem fired. He said, come on. Penix played at Indiana and gave them a winning record, so you know he's good. And we'll get another one. Said Penix showed that killer trait in the Commanders game. Penix is already that left-handed quarterback, best left-handed quarterback in the league. I thank you for joining us in here. And then the first thing, yeah, it's not so much that you're saying there's no way Kurt stays at the backup position. I'm not saying the Falcon, that's the plan. The plan is we'll keep him there until hopefully somebody needs us. Listen, so many things can happen right before the season. People get hurt. People don't pan out like they're supposed to. Nobody is saying that the Falcons' ideal plan is to have Kirk Cousins on the sideline. I think what we're saying is until we absolutely positively know that there's no other team out there that doesn't need a quarterback, you got to try. And if you want to cut bait right now and go ahead and absorb the $65 million cap hit, I mean, you can, but why would you without trying? And if you still got a team or two that's out there that needs a quarterback, go for it. But you got to try. And we have until Friday, because the $10 million bonus starts on Saturday, I think, 15th. So give that a shot. And if you don't, then move on. But I just don't think you give up. See what's out there. See what happens. Billy says, I actually want to keep Kurt out of here. Bury him on the bench and make him retire. Well, again, I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not trying to tell you the most ideal situation is to have Kirk Cousins backing up Michael Penix. Obviously, that's not the ideal situation. Financially, because of the signing we did right now, that's what we're stuck with. We are stuck with a situation of 65, and guess what? If you cut Kirk now, that comes in the hand. You have to make up for that $65 million. This is not a cap that you can spread out. You're going to be in a situation like Denver was last year. Now, Denver's situation ended working out, but look at Denver's team. Denver had to basically get rid of folks. They had to get rid of Judy. They had to get rid of a lot of veterans, and they were basically playing with young guys, and they did well because Sean Payton, no people hate to say it, is a great coach, and he made it work. So, we'll see. Daniel says the starter jobs are drying up. They are. Said Tennessee is all I'm seeing for Kirk. Well, again, Tennessee, I don't even think Tennessee is one of the teams. I think it's coming down probably to the Giants. Tennessee has the best position right now. Tennessee can hold out. Tennessee can draft unless they say, hey, Giants, do y'all want to jump up to number one if y'all want the quarterback that you want? I don't know. It's only 2 quarterbacks out there. Nobody's gonna draft Milroe or Jackson Dart in the top 10. Because really no other team needs anybody. The top 3 teams in the draft are the only teams that 100% need a quarterback right now. Vegas would have been in there, but Vegas made the move with Gino. So, you know. Billy says that's what I was saying. Keep him here and let him be mad and eventually retire. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you let him stay on the bench, like I explained for Daniel, if you let him stay on the bench, dude, he's going to get tired of that. So what you're hoping is that if you're the Falcons, that Kirk says, I want to leave here so bad that I'll restructure whatever you need me to restructure. I'll trade to whoever y'all need me to trade. I just can't be on this team because my ego won't let it happen. And I'm sure they're talking. The mere fact that you don't hear anybody from Kirk's camp and you don't hear the Falcons talking about it, I promise you, they're trying to figure that situation out. I promise you that's what they're doing. That's why it's been radio silent at Falcons headquarters, especially. The only thing you heard was the statement from Blank today about Grady. That's it. The Falcons are working hard to try to see what's going to happen. And Billy, I see you, but I really think Pittsburgh, unless Pittsburgh is a surprise, which I don't see. Pittsburgh doesn't like paying money for quarterbacks anyway. But I just don't see if Arthur Smith is still in Pittsburgh. I don't think this is his type of quarterback. I think he needs somebody with mobility. I saw a little what he was trying to do with Mariota. The only thing Mariota just couldn't throw. And what he was doing with guys up there. I just don't see it. WCG says, I want Cousins as a backup before that punk Jameis Wilson. Don't forget what he did to the Falcons and knowing his head coach. See, that's what, and I'm glad you brought that up. Jameis Wilson got a little bit of equity last year because he was doing the little he segments with Fox, FS1 during the Super Bowl. And then, he did some decent backup work for Cleveland when he wasn't throwing interceptions, pick sixes. So he got a little bit of equity back last year. Yeah, I'm kind of with you with that. I don't want the goofiness and all the stuff that comes with that because I need Michael Penix's focus. That's why I say the Jacoby Brissett's of the world. Shoot, I'm not even joking. I'll take Joe Flacco at this point to back him up. I'll take somebody like that. I need a professional quarterback to back him up. And yeah, the goofiness that comes with Jameis, I just don't think is good for Michael Penix's locker room. And quite honestly, that's why I would even take Kirk. I don't think if Kirk started the season, I don't think Kirk would be a malcontent. I don't think the Falcons want him anywhere near this roster by training camp. But they got to do what they got to do right now. And I know as fans that's going to be frustrating, but they are trying. I promise you, they are behind the scenes because they want to get out of this contract probably more than Kirk Cousins. I was about to call him Kirk Franklin. Kirk Cousins wants to get out of the contract. Antonio says, bring Kirk back. Just take away his red practice jersey. Yeah, he did do that. Daniel says, give me Mike Green or Shamar at 15. I look, I like the Mike Green thing. I just hope and pray the little viral moment at the East-West Shrine game is more. I know the numbers say 17 sacks for Marshall. If I see the film on Ohio State one more time, I'm going to throw up because I know everybody points to that. I get it. I would take a flyer on Mike Green. I hope he is what he is. Shamar Stewart, yeah, knocked it out of the box at the combine, all the measurables, all that stuff. I get it. Shamar ain't sacked the quarterback. We need to have somebody that can sack the quarterback. Mike Green at least has sacked the quarterback and did it a lot. I don't want all rookies will be projects to me, but I want somebody that I can depend on to say he coming out of college can sack the quarterback. You can't teach the physical. You can't teach all the intangibles that Shamar Stewart has, but I just need somebody to sack the quarterback. So Mike Green, if he's there, I wouldn't mind taking him. I would really love to see Javon Walker fall to us or Malachi Starks to kind of fill in that other safety position. That's a position I'm a little concerned about, the safety position coming back. Dwayne says, I don't care how they get this Cousins situation done. He has to go. Not only did he cost us some games, he cost us some draft picks. All that is cool. I'm not mad at that. You're absolutely right, Dwayne. But we can't just cut him March 10th just because we don't like those situations. We have to be smart. I can't just say, I just need him out the room and just say, we'll just take the $65 million hit right now. We can't afford that. We got to fill a roster. We still have positions that we have to fill. So we have to be financially prudent in what we do. I know emotionally, Falcon fans are done with him, as they should be. But we got to do what's best financially. Daniel Joe said, give me Mariota to back. But I don't think we want to do that again. Dan said, hey, there it is. Says Daniel says Mike Green reminds him of Khalil Mack coming out of the draft. Yeah, and Khalil Mack coming out of Buffalo. A lot of people were wondering the same thing. Was the small school sacks because it was a small school, or do you really have that motor? And Mike Green showed that he got a little bit of that motor. So I give him that. But folks, listen, I have had a wonderful time doing this today. I knew it would be an important day, especially when we start talking about what's going to be next for the Atlanta Falcons. Not a lot of movement this week. This is not shocking. I wouldn't be surprised if you hear a signing coming on later on in the week about the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully, we will hear some things going in. Grady Jarrett, again, appreciate it. Thanks for the years. And congratulations on Chicago. Hope we beat you next time we see you going on. But personally, hope everything works out for you, as it seems it has, very quickly. That was a very short-lived goodbye to him. So hopefully he will be back for the Ring of Honor ceremony in about 6-7 years in time. Until then, man, if y'all are here, thank y'all for joining me on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Appreciate all the passion, all of the things y'all brought into us. We will continue to see what the Falcons do in the next week, especially coming up this weekend, to see if there is a new home for Kirk by the time y'all catch me for the Sunday Chill coming up this next Sunday. Until then, this is your Uncle Steve. Appreciate everyone joining us. Thank you. Have a blessed week, and we'll catch y'all this weekend. Take care.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge.